welcome back. And today part 2 of my top 20 characters for 2022, and today it's numbers 10 down to 1, so the big 10. And in at number 10, Geralt of Rivia. So I really think that Geralt is, he's an action hero and he's a brooding, protagonist, but more than that, he's actually, he's a really emotional character. He really gets invested in the people he's helping and also the monsters that he is fighting. And not only that, but he's a very funny character. He's very deadpan. His humour is very dry, and once you get his humour, once you're dialed in, he's an extremely amusing character. So Geralt of Rivia is my number 10. And number 9 is a character that I thought would come nowhere near this list, and that's Randall Thor from the Wheel of Time. Now he is, a standard chosen one paradigm. So what on earth is he doing near a list like this? Well, actually, by the time you've finished reading The Great Hunt over the space of 2 books, which admittedly, I understand this is a word and page count at this point that is longer than, a Lord of the Rings, for instance. It's even equivalent to like a War and Peace. The author has been given a lot of time to really flesh out Rand, and he is a blank canvas, and the world is being reflected onto Rand, and the way he interprets what is happening to him feels so natural. Like if it was happening to you, maybe you'd be the same. And I think Robert Jordan really gets that. And Randall Thor, number 9. In at number 8, a character that for a lot of you might have been in your top 3 for this year. In years gone, it might have been your number 1, and that is Sand Dan Glokta. And I'm going to choose before they're hanged for the showcase of this character, because he has such a large part in this book, and his siege that he tries to hold together as well. He's really kind of, after the first book, he's left in a really precarious situation, and he does so well to maneuver around other characters as they are trying to deal with him. And he's a very intelligent character, but there is always an element of luck there, and he knows how precarious his position is. But Sand is just a tragic character. You're rooting for him even though he's a complete git. A great character. Okay, so heavy hitters now. At number 7, it's Pierre Buzakov. Pierre is a character that goes through a lot in this story. He is a character who we are supposed to relate to and feel sorry for, but ultimately he is a character that goes through a lot of growth. He is seen as a bumbling kind of happy-go-lucky character, but he goes through a lot of hardship, and we get to see how that changes how he views the world, and he goes through some very profound moral dilemmas and ethical choices in this book. And he is really a vehicle for Leo Tolstoy to kind of deliver those to us. And it's a character that I feel so close to now, having read this story and seen what he went through. Right, at number 6, we go back to another master of characters. We're going to go with Giselle Danlufa. And I've chose The Blade itself because his fencing arc from this first book was highly entertaining to me. But you could say in the second book he also goes through quite a dramatic change of character, and he's pompous, and he's self-assured and overly much, but he gets to learn his place in the world and in society, and he gets to fall out of love with himself and fall back in love with himself, and he goes through the classic character arc, and I love how funny Giselle Danlufa is as well. Right, after him we go down into what is now our top 5. So we go to Varadis Ben Lamar from Malice. Now Varadis is a very he's a very moral person. He believes in doing the right thing by his family, by his people, and he is ultimately led astray in this book. And his good nature is, been abused. He doesn't realise that, you know, he's being played sometimes, and he is a character on the edge of things, that very soon becomes in the thick of everything that is moving in this world. And he's a character that we are supposed to really be able to relate to in this world. You know, the main character is a younger character that is more of that blank slate. So with Varadis, it gives the older readers or more experienced readers someone to latch onto. And I think, you know, John Gwynne does excellently with his characters in this, and Varadis, I think, is the shining light of his book Malice. Next, a character that you would probably not expect from this book, but at number 4 I'm going with Prince Imrahil of the Principality of Dol Amroth. I can't express how much I would love to be a Swan Knight of Dol Amroth. I mean, the old blood of Numenor, the old elven blood runs deep in Dol Amroth, and the Knights of the Silver Swan tend to, and they're not played out in the movies, and no one ever really gives them much word, but in Return of the King, basically nothing happens without the Swan Knights of Dol Amroth. They're constantly coming to the aid of everyone. They are there to look after the city. When in Aragorn's absence, they are there to charge the enemy and break the will of the Witch King of Angmar. Prince Imrahil is probably the, you know, marginalised character of Return of the King, and maybe even the whole of the Lord of the Rings. Right, at number 3, 1 second, Hercule Poirot. So Hercule Poirot is basically the reason that I love this book. This is the Mysterious Affair at Styles, and Hercule Poirot is a genius, and we all wish we were as smart as Hercule Poirot, and he doesn't let on what he knows when he knows it, but you know he knows it, and that's what's so great about it. And he chooses his moments to kind of to show off and to reveal things to the reader and to the characters in the book. He's a very funny character, and he's a very heartwarming character. You know, he's given me something in reading this year that that other characters just didn't, basically. At number 2 is another antagonist and villain of the year, Obadiah Hakeswill. Oh, Sergeant Obadiah Hakeswill is deplorable. Worse even than Regal Farseer. This guy is scum. He's utter scum. And on top of that, he loves himself. You know, he thinks, you know, he's great. He thinks he's invincible. He, you know, is terrified. He's a coward. You know, he prays to his mum to keep him alive all the time. But he is just out there to swindle everyone and fool everyone and rob everyone and rape every lady. He's just a terrible, terrible person. But he's a hugely entertaining character, and he is the focal point of ire in these early Richard Sharp books. So, villain of the year, definitely Obadiah Hakeswill. And then finally, the number 1 character for 2022 is none other than Prince Andrei Bolkonsky from War and Peace. Now, Prince Andrei, he has it all in 2022, right? He has the most romance, the most action, the most tragedy, the most character development, the longest and most fulfilled character arc. He, you know, I feel I saw so much of myself and my life reflected in Prince Andrei, and also I felt at the end of War and Peace the most connected to Leo Tolstoy through Andrei Bolkonsky, and his revelations about life, what a good life is, love, what a man should and shouldn't do, action against inaction. The themes go on and on in War and Peace. You know, you could write essays and you could film for hours talking about them, but ultimately they are delivered through Prince Andrei Bolkonsky in this book. Now, there are many, many great characters, but his is the deepest and richest of 2022 for me.